A 96-year-old man won $50 million in the lottery. When his family was notified, they called their pastor for help since they were afraid the news might cause the old fellow to have a heart attack. The pastor agreed to help. He went over to visit the elderly man. They talked about the weather and life in general. Finally, the pastor asked the old man, "Suppose you won $50 million. How would that change your life?" "It wouldn't," said the man. "I would still have arthritis. I would still be 96 years old. In fact, if I had $50 million, I would probably give it to the church." With that, the minister had a heart attack and died. Life is full of surprises, some good and some not so good. Advent is a season for surprises. It's a time to get ready, not for Christmas, but the Christ, the one who was, who is, and who is about to come and has arrived, is here and is yet to return. And if you don't understand all this, I have a bridge to sell you. It's hard. So, the babe of Bethlehem is the present Christ who is returning as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I hope we'll all be ready. That's what Jesus is saying to us. This is why we are waiting, paying attention. Look, listen, and trying to be prepared. Be faithful and being alert. Ever notice that right before a sudden change in whether the birds go silent, an eerie blanket of quiet descends all around you, and you know something is going to occur? Is it a storm, a hurricane, or something else? For all our gifts as human beings, we are the last creatures on earth, it seems, to sense when something momentous is coming to pass. I was on Mount Hood when the last solar eclipse occurred, and everything got eerily quiet before it took place. Everybody sensed it except us humans. Even the air got still. Scientists believe that this is because animals have a better sense of sound and vibration than we do. They can sense when the barometric pressure drops or when the low pressure systems are coming, and they react appropriately. Sharks swim into deeper waters. Animals go into hiding. Bees go into their hives, and the birds stop singing. We humans depend instead on weather reports, on science, to help us know what's coming and to plan for its arrival. Those who live in areas that are prone to disasters know that they cannot live each day in fear of an impending disaster. And yet they must also be prepared. Families make sure they have extra food and water. They keep their first aid kit handy. They work out a what-if evacuation plan. They educate each other on the safest place in their house together. They keep flashlights and blankets on hand, and they consult helpful how-to-do lists on how to keep their family safe in the event of such emergency. And when things go silent, their plan goes into action. Remember the game we used to play when we were young, called musical chairs? We would assemble around a circle with a certain amount of chairs. The music would play, and the group would walk around the circle. And when the music suddenly stopped, all would scramble to take a seat. and those who couldn't get to a chair in time were cast out of the circle. This would keep taking place until only one chair would be left, and the person who got the seat would be the winner. But think about it. Music and sound. When these things stop and go silent, these are always signals about something new and different is going to happen. In my case, when the orchestra goes silent and it's ready to get ready for the first piece, when the hymn stops. So when music stops, you know something is going to happen, even in movies. Now, when the music stops, means to us that you don't get another chance. You're out of extensions. You come to the end of the road. You get this glimpse in this song by Don McLean, American Pie, which is a tribute to the death of Buddy Holly and others in a plane crash. When the music died, is a swan song to the sudden and ultimate demise of them. And these kind of events take us by surprise. In fact, it's the element of surprise that causes so much grief and shock. And yet we know life can change suddenly and unexpectedly. And while we need not live our lives waiting for it, we do need always to be aware. We do what we can to ensure our best safety measures and try to live our best lives each and every day. Grateful for the time that we have been given. And this is something that is in our gospel lesson today, in Matthew's gospel. No one knows, not even Jesus, when he will return. When the music of our world, the chatter, and the livingness will come to an end. We cannot live in perpetual fear, paralysis, or anxiety, waiting for it to happen. We must not try to figure out with all kinds of plans, diagrams, predictions, and assurances. But we do need to live our best lives. We need to live in faith, assured that when Jesus comes, the world changes. When the music stops, we have done our best as human beings on this earth. We've loved well. We've shared well. We've forgotten much. We've forgiven much. We've shown mercy and understanding to all we meet. Here, Jesus compares the finality of earth with the flood of Noah. Life went on in the usual ways right up until it didn't. But like Noah, we can remain faithful, trusting in God, being prepared, and living our best lives. We can prepare ourselves, our hearts, our minds, and our spirits for the coming of the Lord. We can stay awake to the presence of the Spirit around us and stay in tune with Jesus and his direction for our lives. We could be prepared and ready for what is to come, even if we don't know when. More than this, we cannot do. More than this, God does not expect us to do. Today, we enter into the time of Advent, a time in which we remind ourselves to focus on God and God's coming Son. This is a time of spiritual alertness in which we engage ourselves to all the more deeply in our relationship with Jesus as we wait and prepare for the coming. We as human beings can be absent-minded and distracted by the ways of this world and our own lives. We can get caught up in conflict, stubbornness, and petty things. We can lose our focus and allow the flame of our passion for Christ to burn low. We can get busy with all kinds of superficial things. Advent is like an alarm clock that wakes us up and reminds us to pay attention to the coming of the day, to enjoy the music of God's voice in our lives. For one day, the music will stop and the world will go silent. But a new and wonderful day will then begin. Are we prepared for that day? We have one chance to live our lives in this world, only one. So wake up your spirit to the truth of Christ. Stir up your heart to the love all around you and the beauty of this amazing world. Be a part of God's symphonic relational creation. This is how we prepare.